Amanda checked out Progressive Field yesterday and tracked down Brandon Koehnke. He's the head of the grounds crew.
And he sure is a spitfire. We'll get to that in just a minute, but I'll tell you, Progressive Field already is progressing quite nicely. Sprinklers and sun, just weeks away from opening day. Tribe fans will take it, especially head groundskeeper Brandon Koehnke.
It's great to have days like this, but there's so many things to do that when you don't get days like this, you're in a panic and you are stretched for trying to get things done quickly.
The last 2 years, Progressive Field has transformed into a winter wonderland called snow days. For most groundskeepers, that would be a major curveball, but for this crew, it's all a learning process.
The previous year taught us an awful lot. One of the things it taught us was to remove the sod from the field before the snow days event. Immediately after the season was over, we took all the sod out and we had the snow days event basically on sand. What it did was help us about 10 days worth of work time on the backside, where right now we're in the process of the sod was in finished installation last Tuesday. We've rolled it a couple times, we're top dressing it periodically. Fixing sprinkler heads, getting the infield dirt and the pitcher's mound ready to go. So it's a daily process of a lot of little things that go into a big picture to prepare it for a Major League Baseball game.
All the grass in Progressive Field is Kentucky bluegrass, but it's not grown in Kentucky, it's grown in New Jersey.
We've had a lot of success with this farm before, good quality sod. It's actually rooting down quite a bit in certain areas, so it's doing real well.
Brandon's also doing really well. With almost 20 years under his belt with the Tribe, the grass couldn't be greener. I would assume you have a horticultural degree.
I don't, no.
No? How'd you get in this? Who let you in here?
Yeah, really. No, it's just something I've done ever since I was a little kid. My father was a Parks and Recreation director, and I've always worked on a baseball field. And I tell people my hobby has become my career. And not to speak ill of others, but everybody else goes to work in the morning. I go to the ballpark.
I'll tell you what, two things that I really noticed about him. First of all, well, he works, 12-hour days, months and months at a time. He absolutely loves his job. I love that his dad was in Parks and Recreations, and then he was a baseball player himself, so he just absolutely loves it. But I asked what his lawn looked like at home. What do you think?
Oh, gotta be meticulous.
That's what I thought, but he said it's terrible. He said it's almost an embarrassment. He goes, I don't get paid to do my lawn, and I have a dog, and I'm never home. He doesn't have time to make his lawn look nice. And I said, do your neighbors know what you do for a living? He's like, yeah, but isn't that funny?
Is that right?
Yes, he said it's terrible. And then here's the other story I thought was really good. So he is very into how the field looks. If you know this man at all, if you walk, you almost have to ask permission to go on the field.
Yeah.
To even step on the grass.
Right.
I was afraid to even pick up one blade of grass. So back when Jacobs Field, formerly, Progressive Field, Jacobs Field, when it opened, the home opener, there was a guy before the game walking around all over the field. He had his back to Brandon. He was in a trench coat and a hat. He was walking. So Brandon runs up, almost tackles him, and starts screaming a lot of bad words in his face. And he turns around, Mike Hargrove. He said since then they've made up and they're still quite good friends, but he was walking around checking out the field before opening day and he thought it was just some guy that got on the field, like probably one of us from the media or something, and here it was the manager.
And I didn't think about this until I was watching your piece, Amanda. Compared to, how much maintenance is there on an NBA court?
Right. I don't know. I think you shine it up, right?
Yeah, right. We take the little mop, I guess. In a football field, the synthetic turf is nothing.
Right.
Let alone even the natural grass. Obviously when it gets muddy and bad weather, but still there's only so much they can do.
Right, right.
And even the NHL. Your husband Damian was a goalie for 12 years in the NHL.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to smooth off the ice, but really. There is no comparison to the maintenance of those three sports as what it takes to keep a baseball field.
Well, and also they had to, redo the mound because they had a hockey rink in the infield.
That's right. Yeah, with snow days.
Not very long ago, and he said, I asked him too. I said, do the pitchers ever, kind of come up and say, hey, can you make the mound different for me. He said, we can tweak and fine-tune things, but before every game, Major League Baseball comes out and they make sure that the distance between the mound to the plate is exact, that the mound is exactly where it's supposed to be to their specifications. So, I mean, it's very, very intricate.
Yeah, I remember when they lowered the mound because of Sandy Koufax and wonderful Juan Marichal and that era of baseball pitchers. And you're right, the umpires, they check. They keep a Major League Baseball and those umpires, they keep a close eye on that.
It's all stats. It's all very detailed, for sure.
Very interesting stuff, Amanda.
Good.
All right, Amanda Jahn with this interesting piece.